Good morning, everyone. I am Mansi Patil, your host for today's Sadgun Sang Meet. Today, we are celebrating the 247th virtual webinar. Our topic for today is Healthy Self-Esteem, which shall be taken by Ms. Kriti Khanna. It shall be followed by question and answer session. Let's go to the agenda. We'll start with virtual inauguration by Dr. Sundar Kataria, invoking the blessings of deity, chanting of Gayatri Mantra, introduction of speaker, presentation by speaker, question and answer session, and then we close the session. Sadgun Sang, conceived and led by Dr. Sundar Kataria, driven with a mission to elevate the quality, safety, and environmental awareness levels of industry. Sadgun Sang is a series of educative, informative events aiming to illuminate professionals on possible solutions to current issues of industry and economy. Brief introduction of Dr. Sundar Kataria. He is the Chairman and Managing Director at International Certification Services. He has done his Mechanical Engineering, AMIE, and is also an honorary doctorate in Business Management. He started his career in building India's first nuclear power plant at Rawat Bhata, Kota, Rajasthan. He contributed in developing India's first oil and gas field at Bombay High since its inception. He was at head of the industry and offshore development with DLV for 2 decades. He is the founder of first Indian conformity assessment and inspection body known as International Certification Services Private Limited, which is a provider of total quality solution under single umbrella with wide spectrum of services. He has received Lifetime Achievement Award of NICE Corcon and also received several national and international awards. I now request Dr. Kataria to virtually inaugurate this session.
शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
Please join us for the recitation of Gayatri Mantra. Introduction of the keynote speaker, Ms. Kriti Khanna. She is a dedicated and compassionate transformer coach, having more than 7 years of experience in coaching people in their personal and professional life. Proficient in effective communication and active listening while providing support and motivation. Recognized for maintaining a solution-oriented attitude in all aspects of life. She's done a life coaching from United Kingdom, Indian Chartered Accountancy finalist from Mumbai, BCom Accounts and Finance from Mumbai. Her skills include goal setting, time management, problem solving, leadership, communication, mentorship, encouragement, prospective training. She has received achievements she has achieved in life coaching, card reading, and spiritual healings. She has conducted various seminars on transformational coaching, have been speaker on various occasions for OOMS Mumbai, have mentored people for transforming their lives through one-on-one coaching, have conducted various group coaching sessions on various subjects. Please put your hands for Miss Kriti Khanna. Over to you, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Very properly? Perfect. So I'll start with a slide share.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So good morning, everyone. We are here today to discuss on the topic of healthy self-esteem. And I hope you have this, just one second. I hope you enjoy the session and you have your learning from the session. So here we begin. Why this topic? First of all, I would want you to understand why are we doing this topic. This topic is really important. Why? Because a lot of times we have the technical skills to do what is right. We have the skill set to be physically able to handle a lot of stress situations and everything. But when it comes to the mental and emotional aspect, we might or might not have the right. We might or might not have the right abilities to do the work. Hence, this topic, healthy self esteem. As we move into the topic, let's understand what is self esteem first. Self esteem is basically confidence in one's own ability, self respect. That's as per the dictionary. As per my personal view, self esteem would be where how we perceive ourselves, who we are, what do we think about ourselves, what are the validations that we give to ourselves. Self-esteem can be divided into two categories: healthy self-esteem and unhealthy self-esteem. Healthy self-esteem is when we actually have proper thought process about ourselves. We perceive ourselves the right way. Unhealthy self-esteem is when we have the self-doubts, worries, we need constant validation. This is also the time when we are actually looking forward to be higher or dominating others. Unhealthy self esteem is when we are not in the process of our own system. We are not able to understand ourselves the right way. So, today, what we are focusing on building healthy self esteem. What does healthy self esteem do to us? Healthy self esteem actually helps us to be the better version of ourselves, to solve problems, to reduce stresses. Why are we picking up this topic in terms of a corporate impact? Why? Because if you observe, your corporate life actually includes a lot of communication, leadership, and resilience. If you do not have proper communication, there will be issues with respect to solving the situation, coming to a problem solving place, or to give the instructions the right way. A leaders are the one who actually define leaders are the one who actually define the progress, the growth of the organization. And that's why if they do not have healthy self-esteem, there will be a downfall, or let's say a stuck situation in the company, in the organization. Maybe the company can grow better, but with the development of leadership, it can become even more better. Resilience is the ability of how do we cope up with things, how do we balance our life, how do we create the right attitude. And when we have the right attitude, it is better to be ourselves. So now understanding self-esteem in terms of communication, how does a healthy self-esteem impacts the communication system in the company? Let's focus on that. First of all, let me ask you, I'd like to stop the slide share here 1 second. Yeah. I'd like to stop the slide share here and talk to you on how does healthy self-esteem impacts you before we move into the communication part. If you observe the day you are not in a very good mood, what happens? You might or might not see the instructions the right way. You might not understand things the right way. Let's first focus on the family aspect to it. What happens when you are with your family and you are not feeling good about yourself? You end up talking to people in not so nice manner. You question everything that has been said or done. Now, most importantly, if you are having good thoughts, positive thoughts about yourself, you do not doubt what others are saying. You take that and on the face value. That is the biggest reason we are picking up this topic today. Now, Focusing on how do we create this in the corporate world is our goal for the day. Let's get back to our slide sharing and let's understand how the communication would impact in the growth of the organization as the individual, and why is it important. Okay, let's begin. Can you yeah, you can see my screen. Okay, so when it comes to communication, if I am not having positive thought about myself, I might have been attaching certain meanings to what has been said, spoken, or seen. And if I have good self esteem, I would definitely have clarity in listening and speaking. I will not listen to react. I would listen to understand. When I speak with more valuable stuff because now I have something good internally. I think good about myself. Now, understanding, if I am just hearing you, I'm not listening you, what happens? I'm not in the process to actually give you the exact information that you're seeking for, or not to understand the instruction the right way. I would just understand what is there within my system and I'll operate on that frequency. When I'm not having a healthy self esteem, I'm not open to feedback because somewhere what I would feel is what you're going to provide me is going to be a negative feedback. You will only and only provide me what is lacking in me. What are my negativities? What are my misunderstandings? When I have good self esteem, I can create boundaries. I would say yes when I am required to say yes. I would say no when I am required to say no. Why? Because when we don't have good self esteem, we enter into people pleasing. We do not we do not create the actual meaning of the right things. What happens to the ability to expression? We sometimes don't express properly. We do not express properly is because we feel uncomfortable within. Imagine a day when you get up and you just are not feeling good within yourself. Are you able to tell people? No. Most of the times you're agitated, you're irritated. Now, that is what impacts our communication in our corporate life also. And do you imagine a single mistake in your corporate life can actually create multiple disorganized decision? The impact is not limited to a small level. The impact can go beyond. So this is why we need to have proper self-esteem. The impact of good self-esteem, the healthy self-esteem would be on a deeper level. Have you observed that some people actually communicate to dominate? They only want to be right. Why do they do that? Because internally they are not feeling good about themselves. They are not happy. And that's why they want to win. And to win, they have to defeat someone. And imagine this kind of a scenario in the corporate life. How would it look like when everyone is trying to dominate? No one is looking forward to find the solution. No one is trying to be a follower. Everyone wants to dominate, and the easiest way to dominate is through communication. It can be oral, it can be verbal, it can be it can be through your actions, it can be through written communication. Imagine the mails that you find are filled with so much domination that you're not able to feel healthy at workplace. So your healthy self-esteem can also impact how do you feel in your work environment. Judgments. Well, that's very interesting because I have negative judgment about myself. What I would see and perceive is everyone is having negative judgment about me. I would not like to I would not like to be judged. I would isolate myself. I would choose not to communicate. And imagine a scenario you have a meeting where you have to go and communicate, but you're not happy or you're not feeling healthy in your own skin. You're judging yourself. How will you present in the meeting? What would be your reactions? How would you work around it? That is something we need to work around. If we have healthy self esteem on the other side, we go to the meeting with proper attitude, proper mental state, proper emotional state. And what we give is something which is valuable, not something which is just over the top. We are not judging. We are not judging. we are expressing properly, we are understanding what the speaker is speaking about, we are actively listening, we are not hearing. 90% of the times problem today is that we are just listening. We are listening for the sake of listening. Yes. Moving forward, let's understand healthy self-esteem and the impact on leadership. A lot of times, some leaders feel that they are not good enough, and to prove themselves and to prove otherwise, what they actually do is they end up they end up showing ego or domination to the people around. And this is something which is not going to help anyone. So, what is important is that the leader should have healthy self esteem. So, if the leader is not happy in their own skin, they are not feeling comfortable, what will happen? They will show ego. They will try to dominate. They are not open to feedback. They are not ready to work as per the organization. They would rather choose to work as per their willingness. So, it is very important that our leaders should have healthy self esteem. Here, can you see my slide? Okay. It says loading. All right. So, sorry, we need to go back. Yes. So we are discussing about leadership. Just give me 1 second. I'd like to have the session interactive. If you are open to question anything, to put anything, do put it in the chat box. As soon as I can see, I'd like to reply to that. Now, we were discussing that leadership and healthy self-esteem. When our leaders are in healthy self-esteem, what do? They easily delegate the work. If they have to criticize someone, their criticism is not negative. Rather, it's constructive. Rather, I would use the word here. Instead of criticizing, they give feedback. They're open to discuss, they're open to talk, and they're open to help people. Like smile is addictive, so is happiness, and so is negativity, anger. One person in anger can actually bring other people in anger. Imagine a leader who's not happy within their own skin. They are angry half the time. What would they do? They would create that environment all around. And what would that environment lead to? That environment would lead to unhealthy people, unhealthy productivity. Even if this productivity in the organization, the productivity would be limited. The capacity of the organization can be far more. When do you operate better? When you're happy, when you're stressed, when you're sad, when you're angry, or when you feel good enough about yourself. This is why it is important that our leaders are actually at a place of healthy self esteem. No one is perfect, and so is the case with our leaders. When they are in healthy self esteem, they're ready to accept their mistakes. What happens when they accept their mistakes? They bring more productivity, they bring more energy, they bring more happiness in the organization. They're feedback friendly, they enjoy talking to the people, they operate with empathy, they become more inspiring, and they become more calming. Now, the question is, are the leaders only the team leads, project managers, or things like that? No. We all are lead in the organization. We are leading small little things. The smallest work that is on your desk is actually you leading it. So if we see with that lens, we all need to have healthy self-esteem. Our little behavior can actually impact the actual organization in a deeper level. How do we create that leader who is happy within us? It depends. It depends on how we are having the internal feeling, our internal dialogue. In some time, we will come and see how do we develop this healthy self-esteem. But right now, we are focusing on why is it important? Because it's impacting so many parts of our life. Now, talking about resilience. Resilience is more individual in nature. It's more about how do we cope up. But if we combine everyone together, resilience would be important because coping up together for each and every individual of the organization would lead us to a better, fulfilled organization, happy environment. And happy environment is equal to more productivity, more growth, more success. So we all fail in at certain point of time in life, right? What happens? Have you seen someone who has never failed? Just 1 second. Vijayji, not everyone needs to become a leader, but if you see, we all are leading in our own life, right? We are leading in our own roles. As a child, a father, a brother, a son, you're leading in that role. So a healthy self-esteem in every aspect of life will impact, right? We were discussing about the leadership impact in terms of healthy self-esteem and the impact on the organization, right? So now we'd go back to understand why are we leading and how we are leading. We are leading every aspect of our life, right? The smallest work that we are doing in our hand is also what we are leading. Let's say you are supposed to finish a task, a technical task. You might be leading at your own level. You have to complete an Excel. You are leading that Excel. We all are leaders. So if when you're putting up that Excel and you're not happy internally, the data that you put might or might not be right. But if you're in the right mindset, if you're feeling good about yourself, you're focused and you do the right job. The time that you require is also reduced. Yes, that is why the healthy self esteem is important. And I was discussing about failure. Have you ever observed that a small child, when it tries to learn to walk, it falls down? What happens when the child falls down? Does it give up? Or it tries again to run, walk? The child is not feeling that it will never be able to walk. So the child keeps on trying. So we all have failed some or the other time in our life. But how do we see that failure? How does it impact us? Is the real key. And that's where the resilience is important. And it's more of individual because as an individual, how do I see myself? How do I see my failures? How do I see my mistakes? And how do I learn and grow from it? Impacts. Same is the case with the group work. As a group in the organization, we might not be winning. It depends. And how do we improve our self-esteem as a group? We bring healthy self-esteem as a group and we work. That's where resilience would come into play, individually and collectively. Yes, let's begin with the slide share and understand the resilience aspect. Yes, okay. So this is where we are. We're discussing about the resilience part. We're discussing about the failure. So what happens when you feel a failure inside? You're not motivated. You don't work in the right speed. Rather, sometimes you procrastinate or you have laziness. But if you feel failure is a part of life and we can learn and grow from the failure, what happens? You grow, you become the better version of yourself, and you create a healthier life. When you go to the meetings or when you are at your desk, you're not self focused. You're focusing on the problems, the challenges that are in front of you. Have you ever observed that you are going for a meeting and what you're thinking is, how is the senior going to perceive me? How is the boss going to perceive me? Then, actually, what I'm here to discuss. This happens when we do not have the internal validation, when we are not prepared or we don't feel ready to be ourselves. But if we are having good self esteem, we value ourselves enough, what will happen? Our focus would be on the right place, and that is the problem, not ourselves. Next, ready to take more risk. Okay, so when we are ready to take more risk, what actually happens? What happens when we are ready to take risk? We grow, we go out of comfort zone, we become better version of ourselves, right? We know how much we know. We know how much we need to learn, and we combine these two and we create the better version of ourselves, the stronger version of ourselves. What happens with our stress levels? They are reduced. If I'm not having healthy self esteem with respect to myself, half the time I'm stressed. I would need validation out from the society that I am good enough. My safety is not within me, and that's where I have constant stress. What happens to the ability to bounce back? We bounce back stronger if we have that good and healthy self esteem. We bounce back stronger. We know that our fights are lesser than who we actually are. We fight it the right way. Yes. Now, let's see what are the barriers that create unhealthy self esteem. What are the barriers in good self esteem? Yes, perfectionism. We all want to be perfect. But tell me something, is there anyone who's actually perfect in life? The answer is no. No one is perfect. Let's not focus on perfectionism. Rather, let's focus on being better version of ourselves. If we continue to focus on perfectionism, we will delay, we will procrastinate, we will be filled with laziness, we will be demotivated. No one is perfect. We are only trying to be the better version of our own self. This imposter syndrome is something which is one of my favorite barrier in everything in life. Why? Because this can come at any point of time. This is the uninvited guest and it would love to stay with you for as long as you allow it to. Imposter syndrome means who am I to do what I'm doing? Imposter is someone who's trying to be something that they are not. And this is one thing that we all achieve very strongly in our life. So, when we actually know ourselves, who we are, this is something that will not hit us. We can close the door for this uninvited guest. Imposter syndrome is basically me not accepting myself for who I am and doubting my abilities. That is imposter syndrome. Sometimes we don't take certain steps, we don't talk to people, including our family, is because we feel we are not worthy of it. So, to become worthy would be the solution of the imposter syndrome. Have you ever observed yourself at place where you're trying to please people? You're trying to tell them that they're more important than who you are unknowingly, saying sorry for things which are not required, apologizing unnecessarily. Now, that is the barrier to healthy self esteem. Why? Because I lose myself. I lose myself in the process of being someone else, right? So, this is really important that I avoid people pleasing so that my self esteem remains. If something is supposed to be a no, it better be a no, right? Even decision making is impacted by our self esteem, the impact of our self esteem. We have inability or difficulty to say no. We are always fearful of failing. We are fearful of receiving the feedback. Yes. And these can also be the impact on our this can also be the impact on our healthy self-esteem. Sorry, I'm not keeping too well, so the throat is not very good today. But yes, I've promised this session and I'll deliver the maximum that I can. And yes, here what I'm trying to say is if people are judging us and we do not have proper reaction to ourselves, that's where we end up getting into a place of unhealthy self esteem. Yes, just give me 1 second. Thank you. Now, we have learned what is the impact of self esteem, the healthy self esteem, the unhealthy self esteem. We have learned that. Now, what we are going to learn more is about unable to share the screen. Let me check. Now, let's focus on how do we increase the self esteem, because if it's so important, we have seen what it can cause the damage, but let's focus on how we can improve it, because of something which is impacting so many areas of our life, a health, a productivity, a family, a career. How do we improve this? Because this is something important, right? So we discuss now about self-esteem and answer. How do we enhance them? Okay. How many times have you actually tried to accept your wins? Your win could be as small as you're getting up before the alarm rings, or you're not snoozing the alarm. That can be a small win. A small win can be being there where you are required. Maybe you did not win the entire stuff, but you are there. That is win. How many times have we actually acknowledged those small wins? What happens the day when you get up before the alarm and you say, yes, I made it today. I am awake before my alarm. The happiness. I feel good about myself, right? The constructive self talk. The negative self talks are so easy for all of us. We can actually talk, I'm not good enough. I am putting on weight. I am not completing task on time. I am not doing this. I'm not doing that. It's so easy. But it is so difficult for us to accept ourselves the way we are. Okay, I did this good. I did this good today. I can do this. I am learning this. I am present here. How about that? How about saying, okay, I am developing certain technical skills or I'm developing certain mental and emotional skills for myself? That would help us. Setting boundaries. Yes, validations are good, feedbacks are good, but are they good from everyone? No. They are good from the people who are actually important to you. They are good from the people who actually are worthy keeping in your life. So now you have to see whom are you taking your feedbacks and your judgments from, because that impact you on a bigger level. Yes. Now, setting boundaries means learning to say no, when to say no, how to say no. Setting boundaries would not mean that you are being rude, impolite. You can politely say, okay, I respect, this is what you want out of me, but knowing myself, I think I will be able to provide this much. Yes. So that's where we set boundaries. Now, setting boundaries technically and in terms of your personal life is equally important. Yes. Now, in terms of technical stuff, setting boundaries is actually also a way to give others a chance to grow. And it is in giving that you receive. You know that this particular project might not be the best version for you. Give it to someone who can do it better than you. This does not demean you in any manner. This is a small win. You're winning over the unnecessary situation of showing yourself something that you're not. And these kind of things will also help you to not be at the imposter syndrome situation. Yes. So setting boundaries, saying yes when to say yes, saying no when to say no, doing things that actually work. And if you want to do something, but you feel you're not having the skill set, develop the skill set, learn, take support, grow. My favorite point from the slide is improve visibility. When we do not have good self esteem, we try to shut down. We are not visible. We do not want to be seen. And that impacts us more and more. It's a vicious circle. I don't want to be seen. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. And that keeps repeating. So be visible. Be visible in small areas. If you're not comfortable being visible in every aspect of life, just small little areas. Okay. Accepting strength and weakness. This is one thing that I try to do almost every day. No one is perfect. No one will ever be perfect because there will be something more and more and more coming into life. So if I acknowledge myself for who I am, what I do, it will be easier for me to see myself the right way. The accurate perception of myself would help me develop my strength and convert my weakness into my strength. Here, I'd like to stop the screen share and share something very personal here. So when I was in my school days, I was diagnosed with spectacles, and that got me into not so healthy self-esteem was because I was bullied. People would make fun of me for the specs. That happened. We all go through something or the other. As I grew up, I moved to contact lenses. It helped me. It gave me my confidence back. And I grew furthermore. I developed myself. I moved to colored contact lenses. Now I match my lenses with my dresses. Now that is something when you convert your weakness into your strength. So this is a small little example. I spoke about small win. I spoke about developing healthy self-esteem by being visible. And here I'm being visible. This is something very personal. I'm sharing it with you. I'm being visible in your world. I'm sharing my world with you, right? So something like this can actually also help you develop your self-esteem. Yes. I'll just check the message. How does one? Okay, I'll come to that later. Okay, let me go back to the share screen, and we were now discussing about stop comparing ourselves. Not comparing ourselves. The last part of the previous slide was we do not need to compare ourselves with others here. We have to operate with self-compassion. When we operate with self-compassion, we appreciate ourselves. We go ahead the right way. Yes, we are not harsh on ourselves that we are doing this, we are not doing this, we are, that actually helps us. Like I said, it's very easy to have destructive self-talk. It is not easy to have constructive self-talk. Make it a habit. Rome wasn't built in a day, so is the self-esteem. Your self-esteem, developing healthy self-esteem is a daily habit. You will have to create it. No one can do it for you. No one. It is only one person, that is you. People like me can show you the path. To walk on the path is your job. Yes, we'll be discussing the techniques and tools now for healthy self esteem. Right before that, how about we take a poll with you and we check with you how much are you happy with your self esteem? You think on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the highest, what is your level of healthy self esteem about yourself? And what is the level of unhealthy self esteem? Take few seconds, think about it. And I have a question here. How does one control over apologizing, people pleasing, especially if one isn't conditioned for this through generations? Interesting. Yes, that is true. In our world, we have generations showing us that it is important to please people. But in reality, it's up to us. We know it is wrong, right? One step at a time, one day at a time. Like I said, building healthy self esteem is a daily process. Self esteem is on a 4.5. Not bad. You're there 50%, right? Yes. So I would like to have it on your main chat if you are ready to put in how much is your healthy self esteem and unhealthy self esteem. And I move back now to my slide share and discuss to share how can you develop this? How can you make this as a practice? Starting the day with self awareness. As you get up in the morning, think about yourself and start thinking about the happy things, the positive things. You are here at this place, definitely. There is something which is good about you. You're working in this organization. You have a house to sleep. You have something. Where does this something comes from? Yes, because you have created, or someone in your family has created. You're worthy, and that's why you have it today. Okay, now journal one win every day. We discussed about the small wins. Imagine if you have a book and that book has 30 wins at the end of every month. And when you're not in a very good state of mind, you actually go back and read that. And every time that you do that, you feel happy. So, this is why journaling one win every day will help you develop the healthy self esteem. Avoid negative talk or unnecessary self criticism. I've discussed a little on this. We have to focus on positive, healthy talk about ourselves. I will come at the end of this, towards the end of the session, I'll give you an exercise on this. Setting micro boundaries is another thing that I really like. It's saying one no a day. You have to say no for something in a day. Someone questioned me personally that how do we get out of people pleasing? This can be one of your reminders. Set micro boundaries. Say no when it is required to say no. Yes. And if you make it a daily habit, I want to say no to one thing today. I can say no to my laziness also, right? That's my micro boundary. I will not be lazy today. Reflection before reaction. How many of us actually do this? We just hear and we speak. We are just speaking. We are not we are not understanding. We are not giving it few seconds to understand. So it's easy to react and it's not easy to reflect. Reflection is a process that takes time. Develop yourself at a place where you give yourself time to reflect upon things. They say winners do things differently, they don't do different things. One thing that winners do is they reflect. They're not in rush to respond to you. Yes? So this is really important in developing your healthy self-esteem. Okay, now reflection before reaction, speaking up for yourself once a day. And now you have to learn to speak up for yourself. Again, not being impolite, not being rude, just speaking up for yourself, standing up for yourself is actually important. Most of us, most of us here might be married people. It goes for both the genders. Before you speak up, please reflect. It can help you in different ways, right? So think, imagine a scenario in your house that you just speak up without you react, like basically you do not reflect, you just speak up. What's going to happen? So be mindful, reflect, and speak. Eliminate comparison. It's so easy to compare, right? It's really, really easy to compare ourselves with others. But if you truly want to compare, how about comparing yourself with yourself? What happens when you do that? What happens when you compare yourself with yourself? You actually get to a state of who you are. You get to a state of knowing your development. And what happens when you realize that you're developing? Healthy self esteem is built. You feel good about yourself. You feel good about your win. Yes. So that is something which is required from you. And everyone can build healthy self esteem no matter where we start. All right. Now we'll move to the part of, we're almost towards the end of our slideshow. Very interesting part. How many of us actually like to exercise? Not everyone, right? We have the excuse we don't have time. We have weekends at least. Your physiology impacts your psychology. When you move your body, when you do your exercise, there's a shift, there's a chemical change in your body. There's there is a happiness that comes in. Certain hormones that releases, especially dopamine, will bring in happiness. So when you are not in a very good state, you can actually use exercising as a tool. Yes, self-esteem equals self-consistency. How many times have you been inconsistent with respect to your own happiness, your own emotions? Your self esteem is equivalent to consistency. When you learn to be consistent for yourself, showing up for yourself, it will impact in your attitude, in your life. Show up for yourself. Be consistent in developing your self esteem. Let's pause here for 30 seconds and think about what is that one takeaway that you have from this session? What is that one thing that you realized is actually impacting your self esteem and you can do it differently? Let's pause for 30 seconds and think about it. Yes. You may light up the chat if you want to. You can send me a personal message. That's also okay. Now, the 3C. Well, this is not mine, but I have been using it. I really don't remember where I have received this from. The 3C impact for creating healthy self esteem. So sorry, whoever has created this, God bless them. I don't remember their name. I don't remember where I have learned this from. But this is something which has impacted my life. The catch, when you find yourself doing anything which is not very much in your positive attitude, in your self, which is creating a healthy self-esteem for yourself, just change it. How? By challenging it. Let's take the example that I've mentioned here. When you catch yourself thinking a negative thought, hold, pause, like we discussed. You respond, you don't react. You ask yourself, is this thought actually true? If it is true, what can be done? If it is true, is it completely true or is it partially true? I will change the scenario. Either I will develop certain skill set or I will develop something that changes this negative aspect of me. Because no one is perfect. Fair chances I have some weaknesses and I convert my weakness into my strength over the time. Rome wasn't built in a day. Self esteem is not going to be built in a day. But with consistency, constant approach, we build the healthy self esteem. So catch yourself doing something which impacts your self esteem. You challenge yourself by asking the right questions and then you change. The 3C approach. This is something that I apply in my day to day activity. Yes, let's move forward. And here is a reminder that healthy self esteem is not to bring you to a point of ego or pride. Healthy self esteem is only to make you the better version of yourself. The day pride hits you, the ego hits you, you have to remind yourself that we all are growing and no one is perfect, no one will be perfect. Healthy self esteem is accepting your flaws, setting your boundaries, valuing yourself and others. Unhealthy self esteem is harsh self criticism, the negative thoughts, unnecessarily comparing yourself with others, people pleasing, need of constant approval or validations. Unhealthy self esteem is also ego, superiority complex, unnecessary pride. I am better than others. Here is something where we have discussed quite a lot, and I would want you now to take some note about yourself. Give yourself 30 seconds again and ask yourself, okay, and ask yourself, what is it that you can actually do? Where are you lacking your self esteem? What is it that you can build? And then we move to the action plan. Thank you. I am happy that you like the setting boundaries idea. I like that you're liking to say no. Someone has also mentioned that they have unhealthy self esteem at 7 to 8. Understandable. That's fine. The good part is you know. If you don't know, how would you work on that? So it's important to know. All right? All right. Let's go ahead and focus on. Sorry, 1 second. Just sharing the screen. Just 1 second. Yes. What can be your daily action plans? Is the screen visible? All right. I will start doing what? You have a list. You can do a lot more. What is it that you would start doing? In this slide, you have written, I will stop thinking. The thinking is the only thing with capitals in the slide. It's not by mistake. It's done on purpose. What happens is when you are at a place of negative thinking, there's no coming back. You go one thought to the other thought to the other thought to the other thought. By the end of the thoughts, you are a bad person. You're not good enough. You're an imposter. Many things like that happen. This is why thinking is the biggest impact on your self esteem. So I will stop thinking what? I would want you to take a screenshot of this particular slide because this is something that you have to do on daily basis. I will start doing what? I will stop thinking what? I will ask support from myself, from family members, from technical team, from my team members, whatever it is. I shall develop certain skills. Now, what happens when we grow and learn? We start liking ourselves, and we start liking ourselves in better manner. We think differently. We end up acting differently. Have you seen that when you are reading a particular book, you develop those kind of skill sets and you act that way? Your problem solving moves in that way. My daily reminder, you have to have a daily reminder to build your self esteem. This can be on your mobile phone, this can be on your wall, this can be in your office desk. I have healthy self esteem. Yes, I do this to develop my self esteem. Okay, before we end the session, I want something more from you. I would want to give you more before I ask something more from you because it's first to give, right? What is your identity? Who are you? If you know who you are, how do you act? Give me one person that has everything. That's like that person is good in everything. No, they will always have something or the other that is lacking, right? So why are we comparing ourselves with others? We don't need to compare. Build your own identity. I am so and so. I am a good person. My identity for me is I am a person who is developing. The quote that I always carry with me in my heart is better every day. That's it. I don't want to be best every day. I just want to be the better version of myself. What I was yesterday, what I'm today will be different. Just being a little better than what I was. Yes, that would actually give me a better version of myself. And a better version of myself means better self esteem. Yeah. Mukesh Ambani has everything. Maybe he might not have as much sleep as you have. So think about it. Yes, it looks at the end that they have everything. Maybe they don't have the liberty to walk on road like us. We can just pick up ourselves, go. He has to walk with the bodyguards. He doesn't have the freedom as much as you have. You never know. So it's very easy to say that they have everything. True. And the health concerns in their family, I have heard, I'm not sure, but the health concerns in their family, they have stress regarding that also. So think about it. Okay. Now, the last bit. What is it that you will do from today to actually have best version for the day? Yes. What am I going to do today to become the better version of myself, right? And I think that would be my time with respect to the presentation. I'm open to question answers. Let's focus on that for now. Yes. Okay. Raise. How to challenge negative thinking pattern? I really love that question. All right. Okay. Thank you, Sundar Kataria ji. That really means a lot. Okay. Now, I've been asked a question, how to challenge negative thinking patterns. Let's understand this. Negative thinking is a part of our life. Our brain is very old in nature. If you see, we have this, let's say this is the brain, we have the prefrontal cortex, right? We have this area, which is the reptilian brain. This is how the brain looks like. This is the prefrontal cortex. This has the operation of freeze, flight, fight, or fawn. Okay, these are the four actions that the brain does. Freeze is where we freeze, we don't move. Flight is we just run away. Fight is where we actually pick up fights, we do certain things. And fawn is we become clingy. This is the support, we can't run behind away from the support, right? So this is how the brain is developed. Now, earlier, human beings were actually cavemen, right? We were in caves. So either we will have dinner that night or we will become the dinner that night. That's how the brain operate, especially the reptilian brain and all of that used to operate that way. So fear was given to us to actually face challenges, to become protective of our own self, our family, our life, right? So, this is why the negative thinking is a part of the brain. It is given there. But if we don't have negative thinking, we will not grow. Are you getting where I'm trying to put this to? If we don't have negative thinking, we will not grow. We will all be happy. We will not have anything to do, right? So when we actually see the negative thoughts in the right light, we will learn from there. So, this is how we defeat the negative thinking pattern. We understand, first of all, why the negative thoughts are coming. Because the human brain is designed in the manner to have negative thoughts, to have fear. And that's what we use to grow. Fear was not given to freeze you. Certain animals, they freeze. When they freeze, the other animals feel they are dead and that's why they don't eat them. These are the cases which are observed. You see the Discovery Channel, you will find such cases. And human brain also has certain portion of that because the brain has evolved. It's still in the process of evolving. If you see the generation after generation, brain is getting better. The younger children are better than us. So if we have to cut down the negative patterns, we have to first understand why do we have negative pattern. Now you know that you have negative pattern because it's a survival way. Negative thought patterns, sorry. Now, the negative thought patterns will help us to become the developed version of ourselves. Instead of getting frozen there, like I said, freeze, flight. Flight is I don't even want to look at myself because it's that I can't change this. But if rather I actually fight it, fight my negativity, I will grow. But to fight my negativity, I need to know if I am actually seeing it in the right light. That's why we said you have to first understand that what you are seeing, okay? Then you challenge it and then you change it. You have to catch yourself thinking negatively. I hope that answers your question. If there's anything more, let me know. Say no to wrong thinking, wrong planning, or anything wrong is also negative thinking. This depends case to case basis. Here is the paradox of 6 and 9. If I draw 6 here, you might read it as 9 because you're in front. So, what is right for me can be wrong for someone else. So I have to understand in depth that what are we looking forward for? What is right? What is wrong? Here, this is what is important. So when you say saying no to wrong thinking, wrong planning, anything wrong is also negative thinking. No. But first you have to understand, is it actually wrong or is it your way of seeing it wrong? I would recommend please light up the chat box if you have more questions. How can we contribute to improve the other person's self-esteem to be more healthier? Very good question. When I am in my good self-esteem state, it becomes naturally easy for me to improve other person's self-esteem. That is the first part. The second part to this is when I am criticizing someone or let's say giving a feedback, a negative feedback, if I appreciate them first for what they are doing right, we lift their energy up, we make them feel good. And after we have made them feel good, now we present that this is what you have to work on. What will happen? Imagine yourself in that place. Yes, this is how it would work around you. So when you have to lift the other person's self-esteem, you have to understand the person. You have to understand how the person respond to certain situation or reacts to certain situation. That is one. The second way is how would I feel if I was there? Imagine your children. Some of you are married here, you have children. Now imagine your children. If you're constantly telling your children, you're not doing this, you're not doing this, you're not doing this, you're not good at this, you're bad at this. Will the child have good self-esteem? No. But if you tell the child, I see you're doing good at this. You know what? With little effort, you can do good in that as well. What happens to the child? We all are children. Internally, we all have inner child, right? So let's focus on that part. Yes. How do we contribute? Okay, any other question? Thank you, Sureshi. Saying no mostly comes with overcompensating with people pleasing. Like immediately I have taken a stance, then fear steps in and then start. That's why building self-esteem is a daily process. Someone who has not said no in their entire life, when they say no, they would question. And to answer your question again, you have to see, are you saying no at the right place? Are you saying no at the wrong place? If you're saying no at the right place, it will not impact you much. But if you're saying no at the wrong place, or if you're recalculating it, that means before saying no, you have not assessed the situation the right way. When you assess the situation right way, it will not impact you. All right? And practice. Start with small little no's. You don't have to say no immediately for a big thing. Um, yes, here we are. How to overcome how to overcome negativities as our heart and mind conflict. That's where the dance of emotional and practical decision comes into play. If you are seeing things from a practical lens, heart needs to silent down. And there's something called as grace. It's God's grace, right? Something is karma. Something you cannot please everyone. So when you are deciding between your heart and mind, you have to see which area of life you are. Is this area operated by heart or this area is operated by brain? If it is the brain area, you have to calm down the heart. But as you go back to sleep, please pray for the negatives that has been created because you had to pick up the mind. Yes? So you may bless the people, you may pray for the people, you may wish them well, or if you can create any other opportunity for them, then you may think it that way. I hope that answers your question. There's one more. To go them later. Okay. Why is it difficult to take negative feedback even if someone is true? If you have healthy self-esteem, the negative feedback will not feel as bad because it's just a reflection of I have to grow. I have to become better. I have to develop this, right? But if I have negative self-esteem, if I don't value myself enough, then it becomes difficult. Sometimes we don't like certain people. In the scenarios, even if they appreciate us, we feel there's some ulterior motive behind it. That's unfortunately true. So it also impacts where the feedback is coming from, right? So in these kind of cases, what is the best thing that you can do is you have to question. You have to question, is this negative feedback really true? Is this negative feedback, am I taking it too negative? Can this be changed? Or is it an inherited issue with me? You have to operate in that frequency. And you have to ask, is it again the heart and mind? Someone questions something similar. Is it my heart or is it my mind? Is it my heart taking it negatively or is it my mind taking it negatively? Yes. So it's easy when someone you like will give you a negative feedback. You take it. But when someone you don't like gives you the negative feedback, you're like, this person, huh? I know this person doesn't like me. So the negative feedback. You see, tomorrow will come with some other negative feedback. Rather, I judge. Is this negative feedback really negative feedback on me, my performance, my way, my attitude? Or is it that person not liking me? Or is it that I can improve? There's always scope of improvement. Yes? I hope I answered your question on that. How important are grounding practice on a daily basis in building self-esteem, especially when overwhelming emotions, energies take over every day? Now that comes with practice. When you ground yourself, you actually see things accurately. Your accurate perception would lead you to better understanding of life, situation, people, and everything around you. What happens is we get caught up in our mind that this is what it is. Like I said, understanding things the way they are, not dragging it unnecessarily. Yes, that helps. So I hope I answered your question. Let me read it again and if I can add more to it. Yeah, when you ground So here I would also add that when we have excessive self-esteem, we move to pride and arrogance and ego and being impolite. So that's why we have to check. Life is a process or the series to grow and become better version of yourself. If you try to do everything in one day, God bless you, because it doesn't work. You go one day at a time. You go one thing at a time. One day at a time, one step at a time, constantly reflecting upon yourself. What are the best times to reflect upon yourself? Early morning when you wake up and at night before you go to bed. When you wake up, you may visualize how your day would look like. How would you respond? And if you're not able to respond like that the same day, no problem. We have tomorrow. Every day is a new day. One step at a time, one day at a time. You cannot take one step, take the baby step. That is enough. Don't be too hard on yourself. Being too hard on yourself also impacts your self esteem. It creates negative thoughts about yourself. Yes. I hope I was able to answer your questions. If there's any more, please light up. I hope the session was useful. Would you mind taking another 30 seconds and think about what is your actual takeaway from the session? One thing that you would want to take away. What I would recommend is if you can put it on the chat box that this is my takeaway from this particular session, your mind would remember that and then you will be able to remember it and take it with you. So, can we do that, please? All right. What is your takeaway? If you don't want to light it up on the chat box, please write it on your phone. And I hope the session was useful, even if it was useful 1%. I'm looking forward for your growth and development. Thank you. Thank you for having me here. Thank you. Okay. You're welcome. Starting with exercise, prioritizing self. Really nice to know that. My reminder is self-esteem is equal to self-consistency. Thank you. I'm really happy to know that. Self-awareness is the key towards self-esteem. Great. Thank you so much. Yes. All right. Uh, okay, I have another personal message trying to control my irritation and take it out over the family. First, you have to understand irritation is a part of life, and let's not cut the people because of whom we are not bleeding. They look back, they wait for you when you reach back home. They're waiting for you. And the reason they are maybe overwhelming you is because they have missed you. So, when before you go to your home, you change your zone, you calm down, you do some deep breathings. That deep breathing will actually help you in relaxing your parasympathetic nervous system. When your nervous system is down, you respond, you don't react, right? And removing irritation on family is the habit in today's world. You're not the only one fighting it. But how do we go about it is we change our thought process. We change the operator, right? Instead of mind, the operator is the heart now. Okay? So when we operate from heart, irritation would calm down. Certain hormones like GABA can help you reduce your cortisol levels, and that would reduce the irritation. And GABA can also be released through oxytocin. So when you hug your family member after you reach home, you may be able to feel the oxytocin. Your oxytocin receptors will be high, and then your GABA would be produced, and then your cortisol level will go down, and your irritation would reduce. So that can help you, right? Another thing that you can do is you go leave the office at office, take home the home. All right. Easier said than done. Honestly, everything that we have discussed here is easier said than done. You just have to put this in practice on day-to-day basis. Right. Something more on the chat. Let me check this. Okay. One step at a time. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Mansi ji, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. That was a really insightful presentation, and the words, I think, it must have helped everyone to understand how to protect their self-esteem and the others' self-esteem also. We move ahead. ICS is pleased to provide you all its research and development. We have published books and integrated management system covering QMS, CMS, and OSHA's excellence in education management. ISO made in easy in Gujarati, Marathi, Telugu, and Hindi. Dr. Kataria has also written a book on Urja, Engineers Are Made, which is available on Amazon Kindle. For reading any of these books, you may contact the others given details. Feedback. Please register yourself on sadgunsang.org and give your feedback, and you may also get the past and the next sessions details on this website. Thank you everyone for being available for this wonderful session. We now officially announce the closing of this session.